Yeah, it does that now.
Oh, wow. All right, straight out of Savannah, talking with Tammi. Thank you so much for joining us. Me and my guest, Austin James, is here, and he's going to wow us with his expertise. So, Austin, share with the people what it is that you do.
Gotcha. Well, first of which, Tammy, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it. Well, nowadays, a lot of people, they're struggling with their personal finances. Okay. I mean, it's always a challenge to save money. Getting out of debt is a huge hurdle, and improving one's credit is a challenge as well. It's sometimes even an uphill battle. So what I do is that I'm a certified personal finance consultant. So I empower individuals really to achieve their financial goals. And I help them to do that by providing them one-on-one guidance, education, and support to help them achieve those goals. So I love working with people one-on-one, not just throwing the book at them, not just giving them the education, but also helping them to create a strategy that they're comfortable with, because that's another thing people force themselves to do. But we come up with a strategy that they're comfortable with, and we work together step by step, me and them. And that's how we accomplish your goals. We do it nice and easy together. So that's what I love to do in my business.
That is powerful. So, what got you started on this path?
Gotcha. Well, I mean, my mother, if we take it back for farther enough, I mean, my mother, she always worked for like a financial planner. So she already had that financial education that she instilled on me. My father as well. Now, my father didn't actually work for a planner, but he was so on point with the budget. I mean, even down to this day, he still writes prices on everything that he buys. He has this little red Sharpie that he writes the prices on. It's crazy, but that's the kind of financial bootstrapping that he was doing. And I think kind of like the mesh of both of their um, connections to finance kind of instilled on me. So I learned personal finance, at least the basics, but the foundation from my parents. Obviously, I didn't learn it in school, but I always had a liking to it. I always liked messing with numbers. I liked, for some reason, just going into the budget, just messing with numbers, seeing where I can make some changes. I don't know. There's just something weird about it. But what
Yes,
I
it
also
is.
like to, but what I also like to do, I like to help people, because there was a point in time when I moved out, and I had gotten myself into a lot of debt. And once I got myself out, what I found was like the greatest tool. And it wasn't like an app, or it wasn't some special software, but it was literally financial education.
Got you.
So powerful, because it instilled in me and educated me on my options. A lot of times we don't know what our options are,
Yes.
so I had to learn that. And once I learned what my options are in handling my debt, putting that into practice got me out. So really what I'm trying to do with this business is to pay it forward.
Oh,
That's what I
wow.
want to accomplish.
Quite nice. So,
Thank
what is the target? Um, what's your target market? So, like, who do you typically work with?
you. Gotcha. So it's somewhat of a range, because I've got a few other designations that lean more into the entrepreneurial side. So,
Okay.
because I'm also a business consultant and a financial education instructor. So, I'll usually work with entrepreneurs, and helping them to see that connection, because what a lot of entrepreneurs they miss is that a business is a reflection of yourself. So if you are having challenges managing your own personal finances, guess what's going to happen to the business finances? And if the business finances are messed up, guess what's going to happen to the business? So I tend to work with entrepreneurs, but even if someone isn't an entrepreneur, I've also been working with single moms lately. Most of them have been post divorce, so they're kind of, they've got to hold down the fort themselves. That's
I know about that.
there you go. So you got to hold down the fort yourself. That's not easy. So you've got to handle all of that. You've got to take care of your children. But
Yes.
then the financial side of things, especially if you weren't too involved in it previously, which I saw was just a coincidence with the clients I've worked with.
Hmm.
It's a challenge to helm that by yourself. It is. So that's why when I'm working with them, really striving to instill the right financial habits through education.
Okay.
That's what sticks, I find.
That is powerful. So, do you have like a nonprofit arm of your business, or is that something that you were thinking of in the future? Or
There's definitely a possibility for it. I actually haven't considered it. I haven't considered it just yet. But it could be another avenue that I could branch into for sure. Because especially with the just kind of just promoting the financial literacy, what I do for my part right now is that I like to hold different webinars, usually free events too, just kind of just promoting and teaching that financial literacy.
yes.
Um, like I do have one in June. I've actually got two in June that are focused on just kind of promoting financial literacy. I've got one June 7th to the 9th, and I've got another one with another financial education instructor on the 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, so trying to at least pay it forward in that sense. So it's not always like, yeah, you got to pay to learn, but just free information, that can really, I've seen benefit me, it's benefit my clients, and I feel like it could benefit anyone that attends.
That is powerful. So you specifically like working with entrepreneurs and single moms,
Yeah. Yeah.
correct? Okay. But you'll work with anybody that needs
Right.
financial literacy help. Okay.
Oh yeah. Cause it's a definitely a national challenge. So I'm not too picky, but I like to lean towards those because I've seen those somewhat firsthand. I've seen especially with the entrepreneurial side, I've seen the pain points.
Yes.
I've seen the actual challenges. You're pulling money from the business to fund, to cover personal expenses or personal debts, and the business isn't growing. So I know the feelings of, sometimes unworthiness. I know the feelings of hopelessness and helplessness. I've felt those for myself, so I can relate to those. On the single mother side now, although I personally am not a single mom, there was a period in time where it was just me and my mom. So during that time period, although she's always been really well with her finances, I've seen from the outside, so empathetically, I've seen the pain in that area.
Yeah.
So those two I like to target because I've had some sort of relation to them, one way or another. So I want to pay it forward and support those groups, if anything.
That's powerful. So where do you see your business and yourself going, say, in the next 10 years?
Next 10 years. I actually just got asked this yesterday too. I see it kind of being how it is, but just, I don't know how just expansive, because I like playing the role of being a business consultant as well as the personal finance consultant. So providing entrepreneurs kind of like that advice and that guidance to grow their own business, even outside of the financial side. I definitely want to start branching off into there, and I've been working towards doing so as well. I just got certified to be a consultant actually a couple of weeks ago. I mean, the business consultant side. So probably start expanding and branching off into that territory, but always making sure that I'm looking out, because not everyone's an entrepreneur, not everyone's a small business owner, but a lot of people still have those financial challenges. So I want to make sure that my business is still providing those consulting programs to individuals that just want to get themselves to the next level financially. That's what I want to make sure I'm doing.
So do you do it mostly through the webinars, or do you have like an online program, or how are you doing that?
Gotcha. So there's a combination. So I mean, I've got, if we take it from what we have currently, I mean, I've got my Facebook page, I've got my LinkedIn page, I've got the free webinars. I have a podcast called Millennial Money Matters, which is more geared towards helping millennials, gain that control of their personal finances. I've got a money blog as well as on my website. So I like to provide those free avenues just to take just all the mumbo jumbo of financial education that's online and just simplify it and make it practical. You already mentioned like the webinars as well.
Yes.
So just people register. I mean, it's a free event, so it can't hurt. But just providing a little bit more in depth than what I put out generally. But then also, usually what I have been doing, especially with the business, is I do one-on-one consulting. So I'll work with people one-on-one. We usually meet over Zoom. And that's when I get the chance to not just give them just general education, but we get to time to work together. I get to dig into what's going on, into the challenges.
Yes.
And then providing the education to, first of which, uproot any negative behaviors that got us in that, got us in that situation.
So you do mindset work as well. That is powerful.
And you know what? You have to.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people miss that part. If they've got a lot of debt, they go online, they look for these, debt payoff strategies or whatever that a professional or guru puts out. They put it into practice. That's great. But what happens, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, is that, yeah, you get yourself out of debt temporarily, but then eventually you find yourself in that same hole. How many of us have made a budget, stuck to it for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, we give it up, and then we find another budget because we're putting a Band-Aid on the situation. Putting the Band-Aid on it. That's what we're doing.
You have said a mouthful.
It's something that everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people miss. But the mindset is so important and
huge.
Yeah. And you know what? I've had really deep conversations with clients before. You have to, because a lot of our money habits, they can be traced back to traumatic experiences in the past, could be traced back to childhood events. We've got it without digging too deep, but we've got to dig deep enough where we figure out where these habits started. Mm-hmm. We've got to discuss and really break them down and uproot them.
Yes.
And then instill the right kind of financial behavior so that by the time they're done working with me, they kind of don't need me anymore. You're confident. You've got
so you work yourself out of a job.
Basically. But and here's my take on that. If I'm working with a client for, let's say, 3, 4, 5 years, mm-hmm. Something's not right. Something's not right because
you're not a psychiatrist.
Right. And exactly. And it's like either I'm not giving them what they need to make those real changes. Because if it's been a couple of years, I mean, it's either they're not putting into practice what we've been talking about, or what I have been providing to them is not really deep down what they need. They need something more. It shouldn't take that long. Now, it is a challenge, but it shouldn't really take that long to instill new habits. I think that, the number keeps changing every day, but last time I heard it was like 65 days to break a new habit or something like that, or instill a new habit.
21.
That's what I thought. And then it keeps getting higher and higher every time I look. But even then,
it's like the retirement age.
Yeah, it's like that's still, so sometimes it just takes a third party perspective, which I like to provide. Yes. To just listen.
Yes.
What's up? What's going on? And I find that most people already know the solutions. They already know the answers. They already know what they should do.
Because they're inside of them.
That's it. Mm-hmm. All I'm doing is just saying, all I really tell them is that, yeah, you just answered your own question. That's it. So
right. So you help them bring it to the surface.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. And yeah, this is like the first time I've done an interview with a financial professional that also looks at the mindset.
You have to.
Because a lot of them don't realize that those things they're hand in hand.
Oh yeah.
They're connected. You have to deal with the mindset in order to make the changes.
Right.
And that, to me, that's awesome that you get that.
Yeah.
And that you provide that as well, to help people make these changes financially, because you're not born in debt. Well, right. I guess we could be.
Sometimes.
But typically, right. Typically you're not. So something had to happen in order for you to get there. Right. And so something has to happen in order for you to come out.
Right.
But what do you feel like is a major problem for people besides the mindset? Is there like one or maybe a few things that you find in your practice when you're dealing with people that is like a huge thing or a more massive thing than others?
Gotcha. And you know, it's actually, so my webinar, June 7th to 9th, actually breaks down, actually answers that, but I'll break it down for everyone that's listening. There's three pieces. I feel like I call it a financial success formula. Okay. It's the mindset, planning, and execution. Those are the top three. Okay. Mindset, planning, and execution. You've got to have the right mindset at first. You know, the right, first of all, that's coachable, but you have to have the right mindset that things can change. I just need some kind of adjustments, um, you know, some kind of guidance, and things can improve. Now, there's a lot more with that, but mindset's critical. Planning is important too, because to have the mindset is great. Things need to change, but that's not going to solve the situation. We need a
Right.
plan.
Mm-hmm.
We need a plan. We need some kind of strategy. Now, what happens too is that people force themselves, a lot of times they force themselves to stick to a strategy that deep down doesn't align with them,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
Doesn't stick. What I like to do in my practice is that I don't tell people what to do. I'm not going to tell you you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this with your money. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to provide you the education. And what we're going to do is that we're going to reason on that. Okay. I'm going to provide you
Mm-hmm.
the guidance as well, but we're going to reason on that so you can come to your own conclusions. And so that the plan that you come up with, obviously it's got to make sense, it's got to work, but the plan that you come up with is one that you're comfortable with and one that you feel like you can really stick to.
Yes.
I
Yes.
tell you to do something, it might work, but will it stick? Because we're looking for long lasting change.
Right. And
That's
are
what we
you
want.
aligned?
Right. It's got to align with Tammi, not with what I say, but it's got to work for you.
Right.
And
Right.
then lastly, it's the execution. Now, execution is huge too, because the plan can be perfect, airtight, the mindset can be on point, but without any execution, we're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And
So,
that's very important.
right. So to that point with the execution side, is it taking a huge major leap, taking a major change? No. I
It's,
always think that it's better to start small.
that's what I was gonna say. I think it's just the path.
That's it.
You
Start
know,
small.
it's like eating an elephant, you know.
Right.
Eat an
Yeah.
elephant one bite at a time.
That's it. and take it back to the mindset part that you mentioned as well. I mean, think about how long you've had that current financial habit.
Yeah.
You know, think about how long you've had that same kind of mindset. Are you going to be able to solve and kind of uproot that and make all these extra changes overnight? There's no way. No way.
You know, and the thing is people will tell people that it is. Because I find that with my clients, the same thing. You know, I deal
Mm,
with a lot of people that, were divorced and they keep getting the same man, and it's because they need to get their mind right,
mm,
and they need to decide what they want and all these things. And so I'll talk to them and they'll be like, oh, well, I don't know. I mean, this guy and he's this and that. And I said, well, wait a minute. You just said he reminded you of your ex. Is that really what you want? Because I mean, he's an ex for a reason, right? And then you have to almost take them down the rabbit hole so they
right.
can see, because I tell people, I said, it's not that you got the same partner, but you got the same partner.
Right.
They're doing the same thing that this other one did that you didn't like,
Yeah.
but they don't see it. And so, I try to just help them bring it into focus, and then just like you said, find out the solution for themselves that's going to work for them. Because we
Right.
can always tell them, hey, you should do this, you should do that. This is what I did, and this is how this can go. These are different, scenarios that will come out of what you're doing,
Yeah.
but you have to make a decision on what it is you want.
That's it.
And
That's
that's,
it.
I think, the bottom line in any of this type of working with people. They have to make a decision, they have to make their own bottom line,
Right.
because what I'm comfortable with might not be what you're comfortable with.
Right. Exactly. And you know what? And confidence results from competence.
Yes.
So when you've got that education, you have to reason on it for yourself. There's
Yes.
only so much that, you and I can do to break it down and make it simplistic. But if at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense to you, it's not going to make sense. You've got to make that reasoning.
Yes.
So I can provide you the education. I can be there. I can listen. I can give you kind of like the third party perspective. We can work on it together, but you've got to understand it for yourself. You've got to make sense of it for yourself, and it's got to work. That's when it's going to stick.
Yes, absolutely.
Otherwise, you just kind of keep going in the same cycle. Then we've got a problem.
And you're doing it's a song I'm thinking about, circles. Go round and
Oh, the merry-go-round. Yep.
yeah, just circles. Just keep going around and around and around, and eventually, you're gonna get dizzy.
Yep.
But that's kind of on you.
Yeah.
My daughter would say that's kind of a you thing.
Sounds like a you problem. Yeah,
Right?
because yep, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Right. All right. So what would you tell someone that was in the middle of a financial crisis that came to you? Like say their world fell apart. Maybe they got divorced and, they had a husband like me that didn't care about the money, and didn't give me any. But you're in the middle of a mess. What would you say to them?
I think the first thing is that I wouldn't jump to conclusions. Now, I say that in the sense of what I always do. Yeah, what I always do with clients is that no matter what the problem is, I do the same thing for each client starting out. I have to dig. I've got to dig. I can't give you any solutions that are going to work unless I know specifically what's going on. So I evaluate clients against 26 different points of their personal finances. Okay, 26 different points because I need to have the full picture of what's up. I need to know what's going on. I need to know how we're looking in these different areas so that I know what options we have available to us. Mm. If I'm going to make sure that we can come to, now obviously the strategies we're going to work on together, that you have to be comfortable with them. We can do that together. But if I'm going to come up with the strategies, we've got to make sure that they're going to work specifically for you. We can't do some cookie cutter program because then it's really not going to stick.
Right.
So if someone's having that kind of, if they're in the middle of some kind of hardship or some kind of meltdown in that sense, we've got to take a step back. We've got to take a step back. We've got to look at the whole picture, and then we can figure out what's going to work. What's the next step? And that's how I like to do everything, is I like to break it down step by step. That's how I feel comfortable when I'm learning. So that's what I like to do with clients. Just break it down nice and easy, step by step. We dig first, we prioritize our goals, then we start creating action steps and providing the education to make sure that those action steps work. That's how we do it.
So you dig first, prioritize, and then figure out a plan.
That's it. Yeah. So we dig, prioritize, and then create the plan and create the action steps. We start taking action.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. All righty. So the last thing is there anything that you would like to tell the people? And then I want you to share where you can be found, where they can connect with you. And then in the description, I want to put your webinar that's coming up, the details of how they can get in on that. Okay. And, all your links and, your bio and all that stuff. So you'll send me all that and I'll put all that in the description. This way that they can connect with you easy because, people don't like to look hard.
It's true.
So I like to have it, where if they see they're watching this video or listening to it as it were on Anchor or wherever, then they can say, oh, you know what? I can contact him here. I can find him on Facebook. I can find him on LinkedIn. I can find him, on his website, whatever. So that
sounds perfect. And I do a free call with everyone.
Awesome.
So just to know what's going on and see if I'm not the right resource, see what resources I can provide to help out. So always do a free call. But if there's one tip I can leave to the people, I'm not going to say this one. I got to save it for the webinar. You're going to find out on the webinar, this special tip. It's on day 2, and it's really to be a goldfish.
Okay.
You're gonna be a goldfish. But overall, if I have to give a tip, it's to really take financial literacy, take financial education, take that very seriously, because that's what works. There's all kinds of apps, there's all kinds of things out there, and robo advisors and softwares out there. Yeah, that's great, but what's going to help you to progress, no matter what part you are, what phase you are in life, financial education, actually learning and applying it, that's what's going to be the most effective. There's no doubt about it.
That is so powerful. That is so powerful because a lot of people they don't even think about it,
Yeah,
especially our people of color.
that's true. Yeah,
A lot of us we haven't had education. Our parents didn't know a lot of them. And I find that it doesn't really matter even education of the parents. You know what I mean? Like we
right,
have people that their parents are professors, doctors, lawyers, whatever, and they don't even have it. You know what I mean? They didn't
sure,
have it because we didn't learn it. Nobody taught us.
right.
So I think what you're doing is an amazing service.
Thank you, Tammy.
And I'm super just excited just to be able to have this conversation with you because in a few years you're gonna be like, Tammy, who?
Oh wow. No, never, never, never. Never,
You're
never,
like,
never.
what she want? I'm already up here.
Oh boy. No, I appreciate the opportunity. I feel like this has been great, and hopefully this is helpful.
Yeah,
I really hope
absolutely.
that at least one person can see this, and even if it's not, I'm not even saying it so someone reaches out, but if someone just turns to a book and they start learning for themselves,
Yes.
if that's one takeaway, just
Yes.
improve your financial literacy. That's what's important.
And that is my hope too. I'd love, that's why I said I've had all kinds of different people on my show and everybody learned something from somebody.
That's
And
it.
it just might be that today is the day that you are somebody's catalyst.
I hope.
That somebody
That'd be
wants to
cool.
learn about financial literacy and they want to reach out. So where can the people find you and connect with you? Where are you most at? And you can even put all your links if you want.
Sure. So I'll put that, I'll send that information over to you. But I'm primarily on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay.
So that's really where I can be found. If individuals want to reach out, like I said, I'll send you all my information. But
Okay.
Facebook, LinkedIn, if you'd like to chat, feel free to just shoot me over a message.
Okay.
I'm
Sounds
always I'm
good.
always there, or free call, like I said. So just chat. I'm always
That
here.
is wonderful. I'm so excited. You guys, this has been an amazing interview. I wish that we could talk even longer, and I say that every time.
Gotcha.
However, this has been just perfect. I mean, he has shown how we can embrace financial literacy, and that is so important, especially now in this world. So, just thank you so much for joining us, for watching Straight Out of Savannah, talking with Tammi, with my guest, Austin James. And make sure that you hit him up and connect with him because he does have a free call, he said. And he also does webinars. He's doing a free webinar June 7th through the 9th, right?
Yep.
So we're going to put the details in the description so that you can find it and you can click on it and do the things that you need to do so that you can get this education and these tools because he's an amazing young man that is bringing forth a powerful message for this time. And so we really need to jump on it. And if this is something that you need, if you are in need of financial literacy, education, information, if you're an entrepreneur, especially and a single mother, you need to hit him up. All right. So thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back at you again soon. Bye now.